Welcome to the first in a series of videos we're going to do, which leans more towards the non-technical side. As there is a lot of technical information out there at the moment, we are finding that employers and employees are struggling in order to bring this information together. So this will be the first in a series of videos that seeks to explain what is happening around COVID. And in terms of occupational health and safety, what is the employer required to do and what are the employees required to do, including your organized labor, obviously that serves the employees. So this first part then, we would like to obviously look at what exactly is happening around COVID. And we know that it is having a devastating effect on the workforce at the moment. Given that we started the lockdown on the 27th of March and we are now the 14 days down the line, 14th of July, and we find that there are still many questions that need to be answered around COVID. Now, we find in all the inspections that we've done up to date, which is around about 4,500 inspections, very little has changed in terms of the compliance rate. Your public sector is at 47%, while your private sector is around about 57%, with an overall compliance rate of about 55% for all sectors that we are inspecting. Now, if you look at the compliance rate, what are the areas that are not being complied with? Remember that we also had the introduction on the 29th of April of the first piece of legislation that the minister signed off, known as a directive or direction. The second one was published on the 4th of June of 2020, and this one sought to make things a bit more clearer in line with the science that was playing itself out at that time. So where we find ourselves today, we find that employers are still not clear on some issues. Is this part of the non-compliance? It's part of it, but it's not entirely the whole issue around the non-compliance. And the series of videos then will seek to address that matter. And we'll also have further sessions which will allow the employers and employees out there to interact directly with us after today's session and this video in particular. So what are some of the issues that we find ourselves dealing with? And I'll just do an overview of the critical aspects that needs to be addressed, and in subsequent videos we'll go into the detail that we're looking at. So the science then requires us to do the following: to wash our hands as frequently as possible. That is a preferred method to sanitizing. Sanitizing, of course, is a necessity. Obviously, you're not always going to have access to soap and water, and sanitizers will be there. So that is a big thing that needs to be frequently, you need to constantly ensure that you're sanitizing your hands. Now, at this stage, and without me going into the detail, one of the big things that we find we are faced with is the whole disinfection process. And while we'll cover that in detail, I'm just going to quickly deal with this part here. Disinfection is of workplace surfaces, and it is important that you do disinfect your work area when you start work, during the course of your shift, as well as at the end of the shift. Now, we find that workplaces are closing down or being closed, and we are saying there's no need to close a workplace if you find that workers are in fact disinfecting their work areas, as I've just indicated. If workers are working in close proximity to one another, or you find in the retail and wholesale sector that there is an interaction between a member of the public and the worker, then a divider or a partition would suffice there, as well as any other protection that the worker requires, such as a mask, which might be a necessity, or a face shield. But if there is a divider placed there, then you can see that a face shield won't be a necessity. You can dispense with that, of course. So what we are looking at so far then, we have dealt with the sanitizing, we have dealt with the disinfection of the workplace, and we've dealt with the dividers. Masks are a necessity for everyone at the workplace at all times. And that is another thing that we'll deal with in more detail after this video, of course. So as we move on then, in terms of this, social distancing, also known as physical distancing, becomes quite crucial for all of us. I don't think that this must be underestimated. Together with your mask, and of course the period of time that you spend in each other's presence, even if you are wearing a mask, becomes quite crucial. This lends itself to ventilation, ensuring that a room that you're in is well ventilated becomes very important. And the type of ventilation, which we'll cover in a subsequent video, also becomes quite crucial, because it's not just about ventilation or free airflow that is coming through a workplace. A lack of understanding in this area lends itself then to other issues that could impact on the workplace in terms of the health and safety of the worker. So in short then, I'm saying to you that despite all the technical issues out there that seeks to protect you, we have tried to simplify it, and we'll go into a bit more detail on this in subsequent videos after this video, and we'll then clarify other issues that crop up as questions from time to time. This video then, we hope it will then assist you in understanding at least some of the things that we are trying to do. Thank you very much. Until next time, stay safe.